What's going on, everybody? This is the Filsinger Games character podcast, or spotlight, not podcast. This is a YouTube video, not a podcast. I guess it could be. But the Filsinger Games character spotlight with Mike and Brock.
I'm Mike.
And I'm Brock, and we're going to be talking about our favorite bootleg characters in the Filsinger Games universe.
Yep.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And between the two of us, we probably own what safe to bet about 1,000 bootleg cards.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like going back, I was lucky enough to have be present at Galacticon 1 to get Akuma the Ninja, the very first official bootleg.
Yep, the real deal OG.
Yeah. And follow that up with some of Steve's other creations. I got all those. I can't even remember who gave. I know Steve didn't give me them. I think he gave them to Tim Dalton to give me.
Okay.
Because Steve kept going. I kept asking him, and Steve's like, keep forgetting. And finally he's like, just ask Tim. I gave him some extras.
I know Steve handed me his Armageddon tag team at my first Galacticon. After telling me that Comrade Terror and Dreadnought should not be a tag team.
you silly little boy.
Yeah, it's true. I was a silly little boy. But it gives us content and a running joke for the show, right?
I have those.
There they are. They're my all-time favorite bootleg tag team.
The drawings are very simple.
But
they got an update with Bugdale, but I think, like Corey Olson said, he actually kind of prefers these, and I think I do too.
I do as well. They just look thicker. They look more menacing somehow.
Yeah. I think it's just the mask, like they're just black with the eyes.
It's very cool looking, very, very, just like you said, simple. But those two are badasses. Just looking, quick glance, they're gonna mess you up.
Yeah, I 1991 they came out.
Wow. I got them in 97.
I think I got them in 94, something like that, a couple of years after they come out.
I know whenever he handed those to me, it just blew up my 13-year-old brain. I was like, I didn't know you could make your own cards for this. And then look at the monster he's created.
Oh, yeah. Actually, at one point, Tom even made blank cards. He had to get in on the bootleg thing. So he made blank cards.
Do you think anybody bought those, though?
I bought a pack.
I think I bought a pack, but I always just did everything on my PC.
No, I bought a pack. And I think I gave them out to people. I kept like 3 or 4.
Okay.
Because when I had my own store, we had a league down there, and so I gave them out to guys, so they could make their own wrestlers.
Yeah,
just the way like you did it. You get people into the game that way.
Yeah, people love it. People love it.
So you can create. So I was say, who are some of your favorite guys? You have a list, or?
I do. Probably my favorite overall bootleg is Tex Remington from Tim Dalton. I love that card. The artwork is so cool. He's cool. He's just that tough guy that can hang with anybody. He's always done well for me. I just love the whole character. I've always loved a good cowboy gimmick in wrestling. And I thought that Tex Remington is the best representation of that in Champions of the Galaxy.
I used Tex. For about 8 years, I used him. He's a 2-time GWF heavyweight champion. He beat Chaos both times.
Nice. Good.
There were huge upsets to start off with, and I teamed him up with Dorado Sundown.
Perfect.
And they were managed by Dave Schaefer's character from his SWA set, the Cowboy.
No, yeah, another great bootleg set.
Yeah,
for sure. There's bootlegs that I have that are in with my official cards All the NGO stuff is in that bin, and that SWA Invasion set is also in that bin.
I also use a set made by Jack Durakis. He made an all-female set.
Those are also with my official cards.
Yeah, Stormchild, and I use them. I just introduced them in my my women's promotion.
Yeah, those are good cards. Very well statted.
Yeah,
you know, you can drop them into anywhere and they're going to work. They're not going to dominate. They're not going to be scrubs. They'll just fit anywhere you drop them.
But therein lies the rub with a bootleg. Making, you know, the good bootleg.
Yeah, it's not easy.
No, at the very first Galacticon, Myron Coleman had all these bootlegs that were on photocopies. That were just paper, you know, paper that guys made up on their micro dot printers.
Yep.
And we're wrestling them in a big tournament, and these guys were so ridiculous. Like, you know, double +5 finishers and -5 agility and -4 power and 4 downs on level 2. And it was like, oh, and it was just so horrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, you know, as years went on, people would bring characters like that, and they're like, yeah, you know, they'd give them to me or they'd mail them to me, and they're like, did you use them? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you can beat Thantos in under 20 seconds, no.
Yeah. If I got a character like that I really liked, like I liked the concept of, I would tweak it so I could use it.
I did that a couple times. But for the most part, if it was bad, like, I didn't worry about artwork. Like, I can show you here. This here is my favorite all-time bootleg. It was made by Andrew Karras in 1995. That's the artwork. He did it himself. He was like 15.
It's not bad.
No, the character's Dagger Mac. I'm like, that's an awesome wrestling name, Dagger Mac. And he's a little probably, well, he's because I use a rating system 1 through 3, so he's a 3-point guy. You know, +2 finisher, can't keep you down. But it's, other than the fact that he had on level 4 offense, I mean level 3, on level 2 offense, his number 4 was a choice G.
Okay. So that gives an option for a death jump.
Yeah, I changed it to an E.
Okay.
But it's 1995 and Andrew was 15.
Yeah, and those rules were not published 16. Yet.
Yeah.
Those rules didn't get published like 2000 probably.
Yeah.
Or actually, later than that even.
Yeah. But I still use him. I've used him for years. It's one of my all-time favorite guys.
Yeah, that's a good. I've never seen that one. Well, you showed it to me, but I've never played with it. It's before my time.
I don't know if anybody even has that. But you know, like when we were part of the NGO sets, like this, the Alduino del Ring or the Ringmaster. This is my favorite NGO card.
Okay. Like
the artwork is just amazing on it.
Look at that 8-pack.
Yeah, like this guy's cut.
Yeah.
I'm just getting ready to introduce him. I'm building up a storyline for him.
Cool.
Because this, you know, I want him to, you know, to make an impact. But I just looked at I remember the first time I saw that, I'm like, this guy's like, that artwork is amazing. Randy hit it out of the park on that one.
It's good stuff. Randy usually hits it out of the park.
Yeah. And I think what makes it pop is the background.
That's solid black.
Yeah.
Negative space goes a long way.
Yeah. Except if you're Brian Bendis.
Those are just his shadows.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember having this conversation with our friend Sam Liptak. Sam gave me a bunch of characters. And he goes, hey, and I had just met Sam, or, you know, a few hours before, and I gave him. He bought Corn Walter because I was selling them for like $1 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
And he bought Corn Walter off me, and he comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, you made these guys?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he goes, "This artwork is fantastic." Blah blah blah. He goes, "But the guys suck." He's like, "They're gonna get crushed in every promotion." I'm like, "Well, they're not made to win."
Yeah.
I'm like, they're made to upset, people. And I tried to explain that if you make a bootleg too tough, no one's ever going to use it.
Mm-hmm.
I want my bootlegs to be used.
Right.
And so that's why I didn't make them tough. They're just average. Now, the only thing I got annoyed at was I might have screwed up. So, and I looked at the original I sent to Bob, but the tags were missing off the printed back. So Bob didn't write in the tags. He missed them. So I have the original, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm missing 3 out of the 4 tags. I'm my tag guy.
They're tag team.
And so I've added them on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I gave them to people, I'd tell them a tag goes here, here, and here.
Yeah, right.
So if you have this guy at home and you use him, his dazed on defense, the number 6 a tag goes, on number 1 defense a hurt tag, and number 4 it's a hurt tag.
Okay.
Those got missed by Bob, and Bob had missed a couple things before his typesetter.
Yeah.
But it was funny. I got the original. I'm like, I'm missing stuff, but nothing I can do about it.
Yeah. And so don't you have to print like 500 when you print it with Bob? Something ridiculous like that.
Yeah. I think it was 250 of each or something I got.
Yeah. That's the problem I'm running into with color printing is the quantity minimum you have to print if you go through a print shop, which I do because I don't have a color printer at home. So yeah, it's always at least a minimum of 100 copies of anything.
Now, do you count the GWFZ guys as bootlegs?
They're kind of a gray area. I guess they are bootlegs, but kind of not because they were published by Filsinger Games.
Well, it's like I look at them as official bootlegs.
There you go.
Because they still all had to be double checked and make sure you're following the rules. Right.
So they get the stamp of approval.
But I don't understand. Like some of them, like Nightmare Nikki, I think has 3 cards.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? And like Zoe Mongo, Jim Steele's character.
Mm-hmm. The Panda Bear
got an update to Pandemonium. So I emailed. I messaged Jim and I'm like, hey Jim, I'm like, I'm using Zoe Mongo, and he was like, really? I'm like, yeah. And I said, his update to Pandemonium, I said, was there any story arc behind that? And he's like, I have no idea. Somebody else did it.
Yeah.
He goes, he didn't even know it was happening. I'm like, excuse me. I'm like, one, I thought that was kind of rude that someone would do an update for a character and then not have the owner have any knowledge.
They updated Irish Heat, but Rob reached out to me and sent me the stats before it went to print. So I don't know how that worked. But with me, whenever they updated Irish Heat, I was contacted.
Yeah, Jim said he, because it wasn't his character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Zoimong was, but not the updated Pandemonium.
Okay. And I wonder how that went down.
Yeah. But out of that, this guy here, this is somebody who knows their pop culture. So this is the Eradicator. I told you about this.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ever watched Canadian television in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a TV show called Kids in the Hall.
Mm-hmm.
It was a sketch comedy group. One of the characters on there was the Eradicator, who used his, he was to play racquetball against people, and if he beat you, he moved his little token up the ladder, and he wasn't very good. And that was the whole thing. And he's like, I'm the Eradicator, and he always wore a mask so you could never see who he was.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
And when I saw this, I'm like, somebody made a Kids in the Hall sketch character.
That's great.
I'm like, that is awesome. Like, am I going to use this guy? Hell yes. He's absolutely horrible. He's a perfect jobber. And he's going to have that same gimmick where he thinks he's undefeatable.
Mm-hmm.
That's his mindset.
Yeah.
That's the Eradicator.
That's great. There's a lot of good, fun stuff in those GWFC sets.
Oh, yeah.
There's a good, 200-300 characters probably, all said and done. That's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know if there's 200 or 300, but there's easily 100.
Mm-hmm.
And some you can fit them into so many storylines. Like I use Psycho Hog and there's a biker guy. Trying to remember his name. Oh, I just come across this guy. We talked about him last week.
Yeah, the Masked Evangelist. There he is, his collection plate.
With Psycho Hog, there was the guy somebody made. He was also a biker. Do you remember? I'm trying to remember his name here. See if I can find him. But I use him with Psycho Hog, and they're a tag team, and I call them Heavy Metal.
Okay. Oh, excuse me.
I can find that card. But yeah, like, and that, because there's so many guys, if you can't fit these guys into promotions, like, I don't know if you can still get these cards. I don't know if those sets are still available.
Todd mentioned not too long ago on the Filsinger Games Facebook group that he still had a couple sets.
There it is. Motor Psycho.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that one.
So Motor Psycho and Psycho Hog are a tag team called Heavy Metal for me.
Cool.
And they're big, two, fat, slow-moving giants. And are they a horrible tag team? Yeah, but that's their whole gimmick.
Yeah, when they win, it's a big deal.
Yeah. And I don't think they've won.
So that big deal hasn't happened yet.
No. But as soon as I saw him, I'm like, I'm teaming him with Psycho Hog.
Yeah, I loved getting those cards in the mail and flipping through them. It was so much fun getting those big sets.
Yeah, I've divided them up into, definitely I'm going to use, never going to use, and the women. I think all the women I've entered as yeah, I'm going to be using them.
Yeah, because there's not a lot of women wrestlers out there.
No. And so Nightmare Nikki's got like 2 cards in there.
Mm-hmm.
Because whoever made her updated her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a cool character. Sam Liptak, who we've mentioned already, he was a very prolific bootlegger back in the mid-90s. And some of my favorite characters from his are his whole Theater of Pain team.
Yep.
Where he had not just the tag team Theater of Pain, but he had like the Marionette, the Vaudevillain, Kabuki, Drama Queen. There's a whole stable of them. Minstrels of Murder, I think they were called. They're fun cards. He updated all them recently too.
Yeah, I thought they were good.
Mm-hmm.
Probably, I probably have about 50 of Sam Liptak specials,
mm-hmm.
and a lot of them were his pre, where he just made the cards tough as hell. Because,
mm-hmm.
And then when he started to realize that nobody's using these because they're killing everyone,
mm-hmm.
so he reduced them. Like I liked it. He made the Amish assassins.
Yes, those were great. Wow, what were their names? The Byler
Ezekiel.
brothers,
Yeah,
Ezekiel and Jacob, or was it?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, those were great.
Yeah, the Blyers.
Hmm.
Yeah,
He,
I
he,
used them for years. I just retired them. I kept them around for about 6 years.
Sam's a real creative guy. He's got some cool stuff that's floating around out there.
He made an all midget set, all dwarf
Little
dwarf
person.
set.
Yeah, he's done a few of those. And then he had that big feud between Purgatory and Poetic Justice, where his two big guys that feuded. The one, I forget which one it was, had a mechanic. He had 2 pins on his card. They were 3-0, but he had 2 pins.
Okay.
Which was, I think, that the only time I've ever seen that.
See, that's the one thing I think people also get carried away is when they make a bootleg, they got to have a gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
They got to have some kind of game mechanic.
Yeah.
And if the game mechanic gets too complicated, it goes off to the side.
Yeah. Yeah. I fell into that trap with my DCW stuff. There's like a paragraph at the bottom of every card, like, oh, this in this situation, use this, do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
I've gotten away from that. I still have stuff on there, like my Headhunter Travis Deadly card. He has a finisher that you stack up to a +5 based on what moves he hits. And if he wins with that, you roll a die, and if you get a 5 or a 6, you're injured for the amount of cards that whatever the finisher rating was at.
Yeah, like some of mine, like when I made Walter here, I made it so he didn't understand wrestling. So I gave him 2 leaves.
Yeah, just wanders off.
Yeah, he's constantly rolling out of the ring, and he's got 2 out of the rings. So he's awesome in street fights.
Yeah.
Fighting death matches, all kinds of
taken outside.
With that guy, he's you're fighting him outside constantly.
Yeah.
And things like, Annabelle, where, she got hurt, but I've seen too many bootlegs where I'll go through, somebody will send me a set, and it'll have 10 bootlegs, and 8 of those bootlegs will have a gimmick.
Yeah. Yep.
And some should be simple, like, the champ and the tournament master, where they're in a tournament, I use that. He's a title holder, I use that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like when you said, when you start getting into, the bottom part of the card is a paragraph.
Yeah.
So I'm like, can't do it.
Yep. It gets out of hand real quick. And even the official cards were doing that for a while.
Yeah.
You were seeing a lot of that kind of stuff.
And you also see a lot of bootlegs now also for legends, like actual wrestlers. Because, guys always did that.
Yeah. Even before legends was a thing.
Yeah.
I remember riding back from Canada, from Galactican with Tom, and we were going through my box of bootlegs, and there was a Cactus Jack in there and a couple other ones. He's like, people are making bootlegs of real wrestlers? Like, yeah, I think, there's a market there for that.
Yep.
Not long after.
Yeah, because Sam did a 24 set character to be used with the legends. And they're well done. He had the legends team help him out, and you helped him out. You ever got that set yet?
Not yet.
I got mine, and it's a good set. It can fill in a lot of holes. I do like the game mechanic for he did one for Haystack Calhoun. He's like 700 pounds.
Yeah.
Where basically if he rolls out of the ring, he doesn't get back in the ring.
Yeah, because that's what he did. Yeah, that was that. I typeset that for him, so I'm pretty familiar with a lot of them.
And then I do have let's see, I got some of your early ones. I got this guy right here.
Yes, he's great.
Classic drawing from 2002, I think.
Yeah, probably
2002 Brockster Comics.
Yep.
The characters, the stats actually aren't bad. He's quite usable. That's why I set him aside.
Nice.
He'd be a +2 wrestler.
Cool. It was my
Then-
classic superhero type.
And look at this one.
Yeah. Big Leroy the Ogre.
Nice green card.
It was a special edition.
This guy's tough.
Yeah.
-5, 2002 Brock, -5 power.
He's an ogre.
This is before anybody had -5, except Chaos. +4 finisher, puts you down 3 times.
Yeah. He's pretty broken.
Yeah. DQ7 though.
Yeah, see, he gets DQ'd a lot. Yeah, he's one. I like that drawing. His face isn't that great, but I think I did pretty good with the rest of it. So I might redo that card.
His level 2 comebacks outnumber his level 1 comebacks.
He's mad.
He's got 3 level 2s and 2 level 1s. He breaks a couple rules.
Just a couple.
But it's 2002.
Yeah. 20 years ago. I would have been 19 years old.
So you should have known better.
I should have known better.
You son of a bitch, you're screwing us up.
I might redo him just for fun.
Yeah, I love when I get a good bootleg. I immediately start thinking, how can I use this guy? Like I want to put him in the Fed.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I reach over here, I have a stack here. These are bootlegs I want to use.
Nice. How many Broc Atkinson creations are in there?
Well, a lot of it's GWFZ. But there are some guys like, I don't know where this guy came from. The $1 Trillion Thug. EHW.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
And somebody did a Bret Hart called Troy Hart.
Oh, nice. That's Mark Taggart art.
And then I think these might be yours.
Those are Sam's. He did a whole team of birds.
Yeah.
Managed by Paul Lee Parrott.
Like, you know, I got a bunch of GWF guys in here. But you know, some are some very good indie guys. This one I thought was neat.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds me of Boba Fett or one of your Black and Blue or Agent Orange guys. You fit right in with that squad.
For sure.
If he doesn't have a name to it. And then I think this is one of yours.
Yep. Red Scare.
Communist. He's on my list to use. I was thinking of teaming him up with the Human Comrade Terror.
Okay. That's a pretty tough card, the Red Scare card.
Yeah.
He's one of my tougher ones recently.
Yeah. I like I said, I get so many bootlegs that people were giving me.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't always remember who gives them to me, especially years after. Like,
yeah.
So if this is you on the EHW,
I can't remember who did those. That might have been Justin Sanudo. I don't know. I shouldn't throw any names out there because I'm not sure.
But hey, if you did it, I'm giving you some credit here. Some of the cards are pretty good. Like I think he made a tag team called the Mat Men.
Okay.
And they're both amateur wrestling guys in masks.
That's cool.
And I like them. They're in that stack as well. But then, like I said, I literally have behind here Here's the Mat Man.
There they are.
So subtract that. Here's another stack of guys where I'm like, I can't use them.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're too tough, or sometimes like here's Sam's dwarven set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a great idea, but I don't. I just there's not enough guys.
Yeah.
I could show you these. These are original bootlegs from Mark Ashby, going back to 1987, 88.
On the perforated cardstock paper.
No, that wasn't perforated. I had to cut that with scissors. Snafu.
Did they even have artwork?
No artwork. These were printed on the micro dot printers. Here's Quasar. He had Enforcer and Dragnet. He had police officer. He had cops before Galactic Punisher.
Yeah.
And Mark used to have a thing called blood. So guys had a blood rating and chain rating. So in first blood matches, you had to roll above that to bleed.
Okay.
In chain matches, he used to do dog collar matches a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So some guys were better in cage matches. Some guys were better in dog collar matches.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
So it was just something that Mark had done. But yeah, I have all those, and there's the vaudevillain.
There he is.
Yeah, he's relatively tough, but I looked at the back and I'm like, yeah, that was one of the things where you don't know the rules.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think a lot of guys get caught up in, is they don't know all the rules.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna be all over those guys because I didn't know all the rules. I probably still don't know all the rules.
Yep. Yeah, I still have things slip through.
Yeah.
I even have
The
other
rules
people
have
look at
probably
them.
changed
Yeah.
many times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got this cool artwork. I have no idea who did it.
I've never seen
No
that
idea.
one.
You haven't?
Mm-mm. That's cool.
Yeah. Now he's pretty tough. He's quite usable,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know where I'd use him.
Yeah.
And I don't even know where I got it from. That's the thing is, people would like, hey, you want this? Like, I have so many, like the alpha female. I wish I knew where I got.
Yeah.
Somebody did a Raven bootleg.
That's cool.
Do we have Raven in the game?
No.
So yeah, you get lots. I got Mae Young.
Cool.
Yeah, so and then some you get artwork like this.
Yeah.
This is from Power.
Yeah, it was Sam.
That's Sam.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get lots of guys like this. I think these are Sam's. Pizzazz.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson,
Flex and Pizzazz.
Yeah, Jackson Whitby, and
Mm-hmm.
there's so many guys out there.
Mm-hmm.
Some are solid ideas.
You don't see too many Champions of the Galaxy bootlegs anymore. It's mainly leaning toward Legends.
That's what I've realized. I do have quite a lot of those as well.
Mm-hmm.
I look at some, like I have Scott Steiner and Razor Ramon, and I think I have 5 or 6 different Hulk Hogan ones. I surprisingly do not have a Ric Flair one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do not have a Ric Flair.
You have Ric Flair on, though.
EWH Tsunami. So somebody made a Samoan. But yeah, I do not have a Ric Flair card. I'm sure they're out there.
Mm-hmm.
Same as a Bret Hart, and
yeah, they're all getting produced. No,
I
I
think
stay
the
away
legend,
from Legends because I don't think I'd do it well.
yeah, I could probably make some Legends cards, but no matter how you make somebody's always going to argue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I've always stayed away from it. Like Chad and Corey and Tim and Stu, when they stuff. I remember somebody comes up to me. I come into one of the Galacticons. And they're like, "Mike, who's Pesek?" I'm like, he's a hooker from the early 20s, late 30s, somewhere in that area. I think he's like, but his card's better than Rob Van Dam's. Yeah, because he could probably kill Van Dam. And they're like, no. Van Dam's a WWF champion. That's bad. But Pesek was around when wrestling was real.
Yeah.
Van Dam's basically a paper champion. I said, so, yeah, their cards are going to be different.
Mm-hmm.
And so, people get upset at that.
Yeah. Yeah, because especially if you're a real big fan of somebody.
Yeah.
But I think those guys do a great job.
Oh yeah, like
The amount of research they put into every card.
Yeah, if I would have made the Dr. Death Steve Williams card, yeah, that would have been a horrible move. He would have been way tougher than what they made him.
Yeah, right.
Not lying.
Yeah, their cards are so balanced. Like they do such a great job. Like no question. Like the right people are in charge of that.
Yeah, I remember Tim Dalton telling me, when they had Williams signed, and he said, if we don't make Williams tougher than a lot of the guys, put them in the upper part, he said, Mike will probably kill us.
He should be an upper tier guy though.
Yeah, he was a legit tough guy, and
mm-hmm.
He was a solid wrestler for a lot of years.
Won titles wherever he went.
Yeah, had the longest undefeated streak. Unpinned on American soil in over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would not want to have to do what they do, even for bootlegs.
Yeah,
there's so many guys making bootlegs,
mm-hmm.
and they make bootlegs of their favorite indie guys. And
yeah.
I've thought about making bootlegs for a lot of the Canadian indie guys up here,
mm-hmm.
because when I hear the guys talk about the indie bootlegs up here, I have no idea who any of them are.
Yeah.
Because they don't cross borders. Because you're an American,
especially now.
But you want to come up, you need to show your work permit, and same as us down there. You need to show your work permit. There are ways around it. Trust me, I found a ways for 10 years.
Yep.
Speaking
of indie guy bootlegs, Grant does a great job with the Championship Wrestling from Hollywood sets.
I've heard that, and I haven't seen any of those, and I keep meaning to reach out to Grant because I want to get a hold of those.
Mm-hmm. They're also within my with my official cards. So, because they look just like the real thing, and I know he has Zeke help with the stats, and he does the indie cards, so they're as close to the real thing as you can get for me. So,
yeah, but that's one of the things when you start making those indie cards. Yeah, they're bootlegs, but then I think it can help because it introduces people to new characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because they'll look at these indie guys and they're like, who's this guy? Let me check him out on YouTube. Who's this guy?
Mm-hmm.
Let me check him out on YouTube. Does he have a wiki page? Do they have?
For sure. I think they get several copies too, that they could sell at their merch tables and stuff.
Yeah,
which is a good trade-off, honestly.
Yep. Oh yeah,
because I know
I was getting guys signing at a Canadian indie show I was on.
Mm-hmm.
So I go up to Josh Alexander. I'm like, hey Josh, and I talk to him about the game. He's like, I can't sign. I'm like, why not? He goes, I'm already signed to a game. I'm like, what one? he goes, Filsinger or something like that. And I'm like, Filsinger Games. And I'm like, Filsinger Games? He's like, yeah. I'm like, this is the same game then. He's like, oh, he goes, okay, no, then I'm signed with you.
He needs an updated card.
Yeah.
He's a pretty big deal now.
Yeah. But like I said, it was just funny. Like, but I was thinking of making one for, just Canadian, Canadian sets. Just make some bootleg sets, 6-card set every 6 months or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I already have a list. I gave, a list to Todd. Now, none of these guys will probably ever be signed because, as he said, nobody knows them down there, and 95% of the market is in the U.S. for this game.
They'd be cool to sprinkle those guys in, though. Like if you now they do themes though, which makes that tougher to do. They do theme sets. But if you just did like a best of indies set, you could put a couple of these Canadian guys in there just to round it out to an even 8 or something like that.
But it's
like
also
you said, it's exposure.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I had never heard of some of these guys, and I heard them talk about Masha Slamovich. I'm like, that's an amazing name. I love that. I'm gonna have to check her out. And I did. And I went and search her matches on YouTube. This game made me go and
yeah. There's a lot of people that did that for me. Like Warhorse, I'd never heard of him before he had a card. A couple other ones recently, and I'm like, these guys are great. I want to know who these guys are before I use them, which is cool. Especially in today's age, you can find everything easily.
I think Chris Sinclair did bootlegs for a bunch of guys in the mid 90s for Canada.
Okay.
Like he did Eric Young.
Nice.
Who's now with Impact, and he was with because I used to wrestle with Eric. I'll put it this way: I went to WrestleMania 18 with Eric Young. We're sitting on a train together, along with Tim Dalton, and we're just making fun of all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think he made a bootleg card of him and Billy Boogie and a bunch of these guys. So yeah, Chris started to do it. And it was funny because he'd go up to the wrestler and he's like, "Can I get 18 moves from you? Can you give me, can you give me 12 or 15 of your favorite moves? Because he's got to throw out of the rings and death jumps and give me your future."
Yeah.
And the guys would, okay. So he'd try to make them as legit as possible.
That's cool.
Because we didn't have YouTube back then when he was doing it.
It's fairly new tech.
So yeah, Chris was doing it. Even Legends weren't out. Like I had my card, and Valentine had a card, and Bundy had a card.
Yeah.
So there was no Legend stuff out yet. But Chris was, I think, the first guy I know to start making indie cards.
That's cool.
And he just did it for a bunch of Canadian local guys.
Yeah, there was a while that Sam and I would go to indie shows together in Cleveland, and we would take a stack of the contracts and try and get people to sign. And we actually did sign quite a few. And I don't know, I can't remember if any of them actually ended up with cards or not, but they might someday down the road. I know Zeke is the man at that.
Yeah, well, there's so from what I understand, though, there's so many guys with cards out there, but or who have been signed, but they can't put out 200 cards a year.
Right, they're getting pretty close though. They've been pumping out a lot of stuff lately.
Yeah, so like I said, get back to the bootleg thing, but that's one thing I think that is taking over the bootlegs is the Legends, and as long as the game's out there, because you have different fans of it. Like I know David Little doesn't really play GWF; he's more of a Legends guy,
right?
And I dabble in a bit of the Legends. I probably own 5 of the Legend sets.
Mm-hmm.
I don't own. I think there's like 18 out there by now.
Yeah, there's a ton. Like they're already up to 8 color sets.
Yeah, I was just gonna start getting color sets.
Mm-hmm. Because they're eventually going to redo everybody.
Yeah,
in color.
well, everybody that they can. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely a good time to be a fan of this game, because just look at the quality of signings. That every set has headliners in it now, new ones that we haven't had before, like Austin Idol and Dutch Mantel, and the latest one.
And that's why I think these bootlegs are coming out, because people want them so bad.
Yeah, for sure.
So people are, and some of the like, I said I own like 4 Hogan bootlegs. 2 are actually really good. Like, some of them have good game mechanics to first Hulk out.
Mm-hmm.
So that those and one of them I can't even remember. The game mechanic was, if you hit your finisher on him and you roll double, he ignores it and comes back.
That's great. Because that's like what he did.
Yeah, that fits it perfect. You'd hit your finisher, and all of a sudden he's just pumped. And
it's not going to happen every time, but
no,
a decent percentage of time it will.
Yeah, it's going to happen, and that's what I was trying to explain with a game mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
If it's simple, it can work.
Yeah.
Like, I think the first wrestler to have a gimmicky finisher like that was Mayhem.
Yeah, the Leap of Doom.
Yeah. And then, then it started to take off, and then you started to see them on people's bootleg cards.
Mm-hmm.
Will they work? And then, they started to get, more and more interesting.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if you can get your gimmick to fit your character and it works really well with them, like, okay, yeah, Bishop Hell, he had the Hellfire.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, do you do it or not? Mayhem was a 50-50 shot.
Yeah, yeah.
and everybody was like, and Tom said, you don't have to do it. I don't think I've played a match where I go, no, he's gonna. No.
The guy's name is Mayhem.
Yeah, he's doing it.
Yeah.
and like I said, there are literally, hundreds upon hundreds of bootlegs out there. Mm-hmm. Some are good. I'd say, well, if I went back when they first started being made, I'd say only about 10% were good, were usable. Mm-hmm. Now you jump where people are learning the rules better and people understand the game better. Mm-hmm. I'd say about 75% of them are usable.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There are people that, the game mechanics just way too complicated. Mm-hmm. Or they just don't understand and, still want their guy to be top dog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I really, a couple of the NDW characters are pretty tough, but that's their place within NDW. I don't know if you're not running an NDW fed, I don't expect you would use any of those guys, those tough guys, because they're too tough.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing. I could use, I could use a lot of these guys. But and Sam explained that to me for his, a lot of his guys. They're to be made just within his guys. Mm-hmm. I'm like, but you don't tell people that when you give them the cards.
Yeah, yeah.
When you only give me, and you only give somebody 4 cards, mm-hmm. They're either going to use them because they're not going to have a 4-man fed.
Right. That's like Lance Romance is a pretty tough card in NDW.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd get destroyed in GWF, but as far as NDW goes, he's a top tier guy, but he's part of the main villain team.
Yeah.
I don't expect him, to be used much outside of that team, but I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, That's the biggest thing is making a bootleg character usable.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you make a character, do you make the gimmick first, or do you make the you have a character in mind and then you go, I wanted to be tough, or do you build the back and then build the character second?
I have the character in mind first, and then build the back around that. And I usually try and base them on a real guy for movesets and stuff, and then tweak the names and things like that to get the gimmick names in there.
Yeah. Yeah, when I build a back, I'm the same way. I think of the character first,
Mm-hmm.
and how they can fit in with my world.
Yeah.
And then I build the back. But then I'm like, when I do, how tough am I going to make them?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've made a single +4 wrestler in my film.
Mm-hmm.
+4 would be, Thantos or Matador. So I have nobody on that level. They're
Mm-hmm.
either 3, 2, and I don't think I've ever made a 1.
Sure.
So they're either, level 2 or level 3 guys.
I try and balance, like if I have a tougher guy, like Lance Romance, for example, he has 3 level 3 moves on level 2, but he also has a down on level 2 defense, and 2 downs on level 3. So I try and counter it somehow. Like he's got a weaker defense.
I noticed that with the GWFZ guys, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of guys have a down on level 2 defense.
Uh-huh. Yeah, a lot of my NDW guys do.
Yeah, I'd say about half the characters
Mm-hmm.
had that as a weak point.
In the indie line, about all of them do as well. The indie cards seem to have that as a fairly common thing.
I think it's there to make them weaker.
Mm-hmm.
So because I know Tom hates when indie guys and bootlegs and Legends of Wrestling guys are tougher than his GWF guys.
Yeah. Yep. It is a shoot, though.
Yeah. Like I remember Jimmy Snuka made it to the final of a Canada Cup, I think against Billy Joe Boxer. And it basically became a race because they're in the torture chamber.
Mm-hmm.
It became a race to who gets to level 2 offense first.
Yeah.
That's it. And Jimmy Snuka just crushed whichever GWF guy. And Tom's watching it, and Tom's like, I got a weekend Snuka.
Yeah.
He doesn't like to see. That's why he doesn't like to mix them either.
Yeah. It doesn't really make sense to mix them, honestly.
No, but I did it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had GWF, Legends, Ace, and Mark's
CPC.
CPC.
Yeah.
So you could have oh no Ace. It was Legends, GWF, CPC. Oh yeah, it was Ace and Legends. That's what it was. And a Legends character, I think, won it.
Nice.
And I remember Tom getting so mad. And it's the same way. I don't think he wanted to see any of the GWFZ guys come in and dominate his Fed.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think
it makes sense though, because these are supposed to be the best guys in the entire universe that make up the GWF. The Legends are the best guys on planet Earth. So they shouldn't be as good as Commander Sam in that universe.
No.
Because Commander Sam is the best guy representing planet Earth, basically, in that first set. So I get where he's coming from, totally.
No. But we should probably wrap up here.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody, and for watching us here on YouTube. Please like, share, invite, subscribe, all those fun things. And we're going to give a quick shout out to all our friends in the Champions of the Galaxy community who are also doing media projects. the official Filsinger Games podcast, Roll Up, the Legends Teams podcast, Uncharted Territory, Lee Longpre's Dizzy Dice, Grant's GWF Promoter on YouTube and Twitch, and then myself on Twitch, and Sergeant Fragamal is now streaming on Twitch. So check out all those things, and if there's a Filsinger Games media project that you're involved in, please let us know, because we'd like to share that information with the people who watch this show. And we'll have all those links below here in the description. So please be sure to check them out and support what they're doing.
And next week is a big week for us. We have some special guests.
Ooh.
We have some of our wives coming on to talk about the GWF and how the GWF is affecting them.
Oh, interesting. Should be a good one.
So you have to tune in to see which wives we have coming in.
Mm-hmm. Might surprise you.
Yep.
Or who's willing to do the shows more accurate here. All right. Well, thanks,
we had to put a few calls out, but yeah, they were all willing to do it.
Yeah.
And I actually got a what if I swear a lot? Do you have an ability to beat me?
We ain't worried about that. It's
I'm
YouTube.
Yeah. I'm like, hold on. You're gonna swear about your husband playing the game? Oh yeah, no, you got to come on now.
We'll put the little. We'll check that it has matured language on it. We'll be fine.
Yeah. Put a disclaimer.
Mm-hmm.
Some wives may get upset during this podcast.
Yep, they've been through a lot because of this.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
My wife's been through 31 years of this game. So she's seen it all.
Yep. Mine has been through 9 years of this game. 10 years? Yep, about 10 years.
Yeah.
So,
I think my wife's been to 5 Galacticons, which is 5 more than Sam Fain.
my wife has been to 4 Galacticons. Yeah. Or is it 5? No, 5 Galacticons as well. Okay. 2 in Philly, 1 in Cleveland, 1 in Jamestown, and 1 in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That we had to get a hotel for, and we live in Pittsburgh.
Where they filmed The Purge.
Yeah.
That part of Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, thanks again, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.
Okay. Good night.
Later.